You know what the left likes saying all the time? Whenever there's not a mass shooting, the one thing that they love saying all the time is my body, my right. It's my body and my right to do what I want to with my body because it's my right. If I want to be a man or a woman or a unicorn or a banana or self identify as a pixie, I can do that because it's my body. It's my right. Well, let me give you a newsflash. This is my body and it's my right. The people in this house, it's my house, it's my family, it's my right, my nation to decide if I want to defend my life with a gun like this or with 200 or 300 AR-15s because it's my body and it's my right to decide how I want to defend myself. You know, I might wake up one day and it be a Tuesday of December and I might not want to defend myself with the Walther PPS. I might want to roll over to the other side of the bed and decide to pack a 500 Magnum Smith & Wesson that day. Then the next morning, Christmas Eve next year, I might decide to roll out of bed and go get me an AR-15. And then New Year's morning, I might wake up and decide to go get me a shotgun. But the truth of the matter is, it's in our Constitution that these rights right here shall not be infringed. So it means it's a right. It's a God-given right for us to be allowed to say it's my body and my right to defend my life with anything I want to, such as a gun or 300 guns. Because why? Because I'm American, and that's what the Second Amendment says we can do as Americans. And they can argue all they want to about back then they had muskets, and back then they had this, and back then they had that. Yeah, and back then they had enough common sense to say, you know what? Tyranny is going to be worse in 200 or 300 years from now than it is today, so we need to make the Second Amendment right there up with the first so people can speak up first of all and talk reasonably. And if that don't work, they can bear arms and fight for their freedom, by God. And that's what the Constitution, that's what the First and Second Amendment was created for. So we can always be able to stand up, regain our freedom and our liberties against a tyrannical government anytime we see fit. And quite frankly, there's nobody alive today that can convince me that you can predict the future. You can predict the future and tell me that there's a day in time where we're not going to have as many military troops as we used to. They're not going to fight as hard as they used to. Well, because half of them can't even figure out what damn gender they are, that might decide to go overseas and might decide to get their ass whooped. We might go somewhere like China and they might kick our ass. We might be friendly with somebody and then have Pearl Harbor happen to where the friendly people decide to turn on us and stick a knife in our back. And then we got a Congress right now who wants to make it to where we get nuked before we nuke anybody else. And if those two things happen, whether it be 2 weeks from now, 200 years from now, if those things happen, then eventually we're going to be invaded, whether it be from the inside or the outside. And guess what your last line of defense is going to be? It's going to be our gun rights. It's going to be people who want to fight for their freedom or die trying. That's what it's going to be. And there ain't a damn person alive today that can say that will never happen because you don't know that it won't never happen. And that's exactly why anybody coming after Americans' guns is part of the tyrannical problem that they knew could happen years ago, back in 1776. That's one thing back then that is different than today too. Our guns have evolved and so has tyranny, folks. It only gets smarter. It only gets crookeder. It only has the mainstream media on its back, patting it the whole time, saying, good job. And that's exactly why we all need to stand up and continue fighting for our gun rights, because it's our bodies, it's our right, it's our nation, and it's our right. And whether it's 2 weeks from now or 200 years from now, it's going to be our great-great-great-grandchildren's rights to be able to stand up and do the same damn thing.